Hello, folks. It's another Friday. Welcome. I hear it's the International Men's Day. I greet you. And I greet you too.
Thank you very much.
It's just as well that they give us one day in the calendar.
The table of gentlemen.
Yeah. Even the people who made us up were men.
Men,
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. Good. Good. Welcome. All right. We want to thank you for joining us on the biggest platform for journalists in the country. We call it Journalist Hangout. I'm Citizen Jones. Today on the program, President Buhari approves 18.2 billion naira for each state as budget support facility. ASUU, that's the Association of Academic Staff Union of Universities, and federal government reached truce over fresh strike after Speaker Gbajabiamila intervened. A 3-day strike by railway workers, we understand, have left passengers stranded. And later on, Sports Minister says NFF, that's the Nigerian Football Federation, would decide Rohr's fate next week. Let me report I'm hanging out with gentleman Emeka Madunagu. I greet you, sir, again. And Bola Olajuwon, I greet you too.
Thank you very much.
So the team is ready. I hope you are. All right, then, let's go. You know, all 36 states and the FCT are to share a largesse of 18.2 billion naira each in order that they meet financial obligations and previous budget support facility due for repayment. The president's approval for the facility was made public during the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting, and the funds would be disbursed in 6 tranches over a period of 6 months. There is, of course, a 30-year tenor and a 2-year moratorium, and at least an interest rate of 9%. You know, the bridge financing deal has a familiar history, linking it to the bailouts. If you remember, all state governments received 3 times in the past. Financial discipline by state chief executives in these lean times can't be overstressed, Emeka.
Yeah, that's true. Even Lagos State Governor Babachide Sanwo-Olu said so at an event yesterday on fiscal management. He was advising governors to cut excess, to cut waste, and to try to ensure value for funds, public funds, which is a major problem in Nigeria. You'll find out that at the states, you know, spending is done recklessly. The houses of assembly are just there in name. The members of the houses of assembly are just there to collect salaries and allowances, hardly checking the governors. And so, you see, the governors initiate new projects. You go to all the states, you see governors bringing in new projects, whereas there are projects inherited from previous administrations which will have a direct bearing on the lives of the people. But you see, one, there is no planning before a governor comes into power. So the governor just tells so candidates just tell the people who will provide you with roads, will give you hospitals, will do this and that. The same thing that even my grandparents
it is not part of their job.
Yeah, but there is no planning. There is no backup with data to say, okay, if we put a hospital here, it's going to touch so and so and so number of people. And drilling down to this very issue, it appears strange to me, even though the Minister of Finance has said it's part of the reform programs, you know, the fiscal reform programs of the Buhari administration. But I find it difficult to understand why the states have been, you know, the loans owed by states are being refinanced. You know, these are loans owed to banks, are being refinanced. I mean, there are existing loans, foreign loans, local loans, loans owed to old contractors, debts owed contractors, owed banks, you know, and you're still giving them more loans with 30-year, you know, with a 30-year moratorium. And at 9%, the economy is not stable. The exchange rate is not stable. we are grappling with hyperinflation. And at the same time, we're expanding our debt burden without necessarily enlarging the revenue base.
Yeah.
Without a deliberate attempt from the presidency down to the governors, to the local government chairman, without a deliberate attempt to cut waste, to cut costs. There's no deliberate attempt. And so, when you keep refinancing excess, when you keep refinancing recklessness in public expenditure, what do? You continue to make life miserable for the ordinary people.
Emeka, before we came on, we talked about us deserving the kind of government we have. We produce.
Yeah, we elect these leaders.
So we deserve it. Maybe that's for another day. Bola, but my concern is not necessarily about the bailout, these funds, 18.2 billion going to each state. But I am more worried about internally generated revenue, because it's like a no-go area for us. Are we factoring that into it?
We are not factoring that into it. You see, even before we start looking at that, we should ask ourselves, do they really need the money? Do they really need that money?
Refinancing loans.
Yes, wait, do they really need to refinance the loan? Because the loans the bailout that the federal government gave to them, or I should say, the Muhammadu Buhari administration gave out to them, they were not used according to the outline for giving out the loan in the first instance. Okay, I remember all of us were in this country when they gave out the money that, okay, fine. You see, the money should be used, part of it should be used to pay off the salaries being owed workers.
And pensioners.
And pensioners. Please, I can tell you categorically that many states are still owing. What are we doing? Now, don't forget, okay, a controversy is still ongoing in respect of a state, Kogi, about the 20 billion that they said they found in the bank account of in a bank, okay?
Belonging to
Kogi State.
Okay.
Emeka, are we on the same page on that issue?
Yes.
It's still ongoing. The state said, oh, it didn't know anything. The state government said it didn't know anything about it. The state assembly...
What's the name of the film?
Let's go on.
Okay.
The state government now said, oh, the state assembly now invited the managing director of that bank. But that one refused to go. But see, the issue is this. As you rightly said, there's no way.
We deserve what's happening to us and with us.
You see, Senator Jones, we will continue to live in this type of predicament that we found ourselves. When people will sit down expecting, a droplets to come to them into their cups from the federal government. Whereas they can look outside the box. They can, by not necessarily...
I just talked about internally generated revenue.
Yes, they can.
Nobody goes there. Nobody talks about it.
See, nobody is saying that. Not only that, see, you will see some big men in many states now exploring all these mineral resources like gold. And this thing is not going into the purse.
Are they exploring?
Yes.
Are they exploring the mineral resources officially?
It's not officially.
So how do you expect the money to go into official
the issue is this:
accounts?
If these mineral resources should belong to the state government, at least the people should benefit from it.
But then change the law. Change the law.
You see, let me tell you. Look, I'm sorry to say, somebody said it here. He said, look, I'm sorry, I'm a Muslim. Well, I also know that you're a very good Christian. I know that you're a Christian too. You see...
but you didn't say you were a good Muslim.
Well, I'm a good Muslim. See, I'm sorry. If Jesus should come to this country and rule this country called Nigeria, you see, we will still find ourselves in this predicament. It's not about the law, it's the people.
Yeah, Bola, and let me tell you, there's an 11th commandment. Blessed are those who expect nothing because they shall not be disappointed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the issue is this: we are still expecting. Do you want us not to expect?
Oh, come on.
The state government are still expecting, the federal government to do miracle, if possible, to take over the payment of the salary of their workers.
Of course.
They will ask for it.
But Emeka, do remember or recall also that the Paris refund regime became a litigious.
It's still the matter is still on ground.
It's still there.
The matter there's also still the matter of VAT before the Supreme Court, for which the federal government is seeking a political solution. And then there are other issues being negotiated secretly, and you just wonder that whether our leaders just sit down every day to talk about sharing of money, nothing about value, giving value for public
and
expenditure.
then by the same token, you hear economists and people who should know, you hear them tell you and I that the country is poor. We are not a poor country.
No, we are not.
Nobody should say that.
When they say we are poor, you have to look at the indices for poverty. You have to look at the facilities, the resources. To how many people these resources are readily available. The resources, when the resources are being cornered by a select few, of course, you don't expect the general, the majority to be said to be rich. So it is a poor mindset.
Do you recall in the Babangida years, once he talked about how surprised he was that our economy had taken so much beating and slaps, but it has not crumbled.
I never took Babangida seriously. He was just, he liked to engage in sophistry. He just liked to dribble Nigerians, give Nigerians what to say. Whenever he had something funny up his sleeves, he would throw out something, give Nigerians something to keep talking about.
And people would
then, do some of those engage in some of those shenanigans. So I mean, looking back, of course, we allowed ourselves to be led by the nose by somebody who was not serious with power.
Emeka and Bola, we deserve what's happening with us and to us.
Well, I wouldn't agree that we deserve. Unfortunately, what power do the people have in terms of actually determining the leadership, in actually determining the outcome of elections? Look at the recent Anambra election, for example. Due to threats here and there, hiccups here and there, a lot of people didn't come out. The election recorded less than 15%. How can you expect just less than 15% of the people to take decisions for over 2.5 million voters?
Your state now has a governor-elect. So
yes, but what I'm saying,
go to court about that.
When you say we deserve, that's what I'm trying to interrogate that term.
Put it in context.
That we deserve, because when you say we deserve, have we dealt with the real choices of the Nigerian people? Do they even have a choice?
Emeka, and I put it to you that giving states another bailout of 18.2 billion naira.
Yes.
A billion is a million in 1,000 places.
Yes.
Is it something you deserve?
Well, the point is this.
Do we deserve it?
No, we deserve it. If the Houses of Assembly will debate this money, they will not debate it, because this is appropriation. It's actually supposed to go through
what is coming to us. Anyway,
well, we don't really deserve it. I mean, we have to look at the power of the people.
Emeka, don't let us make this an intellectual discourse. Let's say it as it is. We report what is before us. We have a caller has joined us. Olanrewaju is reaching us from Ilorin. Ilorin is in Kwara. Good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Olanrewaju from Ilorin, Kwara State. Yes, welcome. I want to lend my voice on the conversation regarding the financial stimulus that the federal government has packaged again for the state government for refinance or as a bailout. This is not the first time, and I need to commend the federal government on that issue, because is able to study the happenings in federal states, there is financial tension, inflation here and there, and he come up with that, at least to cushion the tension in the federal states. But unfortunately, most of these state governors, just like the guest said it there, how many of them in the first instance requested for this? How many of them actually have a plan on how to spend this money? And that is why I made the advice in my own state that they need to use this money either to pay part of the commercial loan already accrued by the previous administration, so that the moratorium 2 years given to them, it will not serve or starting payment on this first tenor. At the same time, most of the interest of this commercial bank, is too high. But giving them 9%, at least it will reduce the tension. That is one. Two, let them look into the situation of the local government and super teachers in the state. Some of them are on 4 months outstanding salary. If we can use at least out of this money to settle 2 months out of it, it will reduce the tension in the state. So these are the basic in which the federal government think of coming up with this package for the state government. Unfortunately, most of them will diverted that money as they have demonstrated before.
Olanrewaju, thank you, but you can go, if you feel aggrieved, you can go to court.
He mentioned something.
Yeah.
Not all the states collected bailout from 2015. How come this money is being given to all states? That left me, thinking that what's really going on? If you didn't collect, if you've not been collecting bailout, and we know it's not all the states that collected bailouts. If you've not been collecting bailouts, why are you now collecting money to refinance loans you didn't collect? I think the Nigerian Governors Forum should come out to tell us what is really going on.
And we know that giving them this money over a 6-month period, So, 30-year payback. Yes. And a moratorium of how many? 2 years?
2 years.
At 9%.
That would be about 32 years. Abi?
The last one given to them.
No.
The moratorium was deferred. Fayemi, the governor of Ekiti, asked for deferment of the moratorium, which led to a crisis between the states and the central bank. And now a new moratorium is being given to them.
Then, for 2 years, they will not pay anything.
And so the governors are leaving.
And then the money will be paid. That means my children and my grandchildren will be paid for this
that thing
money.
Is every country.
It's every country.
Every country.
Don't let us be talking like this. But those countries that collected the money, who are owing, America is the biggest debtor. But are the people not seeing the money?
Of course.
They knew what they are using the money for.
Yes.
They go to other Western countries. They knew what they are using the money for.
So,
do we know
which is your state?
I'm from Ogun State.
Okay.
I'm from Ogun. See, let me tell you one thing. I want to say it on this program. After 4 years, any governor that is leaving office and still having salary to pay, having pensioner to pay, those governors are evil.
But you have not gone to court.
But some of these governors are leaving.
No,
within that 2 years moratorium,
inside 2 years,
up to about 5 governors. What are we even talking about? It's less than 2023. It's just about 16 months or so. So almost all the governors are leaving. How many of them are going? Are going to run?
Sorry, Emeka and Bola, we have company again. Ahmed is reaching us from Kano. So we say good evening to you, sir. How are you?
Yeah, good evening.
Welcome.
Yeah, my name is Ahmed. I'm calling from Kano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ahmed, your state is going to receive this money.
Yes, my state is going to receive this money, but I'm going to tell you that the governors are not going to use this money for anything good. In fact, they are going to use this money for the
elections.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you that the state governors, especially...
No. Did I get that?
I think it's gone up. I think I was trying to say the governors will use the money for the 2023
something
elections.
else.
For something else. This is just like...
But are you saying Mr. President would intentionally give this money out at this time? When he knows an election
he's not even
is
seeking re-election. But the point is the governors have put so much pressure on him. The governors have become so powerful. that they exert so much pressure on everybody. Look at the issue of the Pies Club reform.
Emeka, I'd love for you to go there. This is why I broached the subject of internally generated revenue, which is on the cards.
No, you see, even it's not as if, for many states have generally improved in their internally generated revenue. Many states have. But the point is, where is the money going to?
That is the question.
Where is the money going to? These states are also getting loans. And don't forget, there is movement, migration of capital. Look at like Ogun State. The number of industries that, keep pointing to Ogun State, people moving from different parts of the country, moving to Ogun State. And then, how accountable is the state to the people? To the people, yeah. Go around the state. Look at the road. Look at the infrastructure. It's not what you will expect in a rapidly industrializing state.
We have a serious housing deficit across the country.
Yeah, of course. That's even another big shame. I mean, we have a big housing deficit, and government is talking of selling houses at an affordable rate of 7 million naira. I mean,
that is the least. That is the least.
I mean,
we are talking of 13. We are talking of 12 million. 2-bedroom flats.
How affordable is that? So the point is this. I believe that instead of giving that money, refinancing these loans, the president should, I think, the government should find a way. Let this money get to Nigerians. Trader money and all of those things, fine. But what was the impact? What was the impact of all this, these interventionist programs? We need to go beyond using interventionist programs to reach the ordinary Nigerians. There should be, government is talking of another one, that when the fuel is increased, they will pay Nigerians transport allowance. All of these interventionist programs are not sustainable. There must be sustainable economic programs that can keep money in circulation, provide the means for jobs to be created.
Emeka, one thing that comes to mind here is making this country productive one more time. What do I mean? Give electricity and more electricity so Nigerians will go to work.
But we are still flaring gas in a country where we are condemned by electricity, and we're flaring gas.
I never knew that we had I've said this more than once here. I never knew we had more than 400 textile factories in this country.
Of course,
across this country.
More than, yes.
And imagine a textile factory like the one in Lagos here, employing 5,000.
5,000, yes, one.
Times 400.
One at Isolo was employing 5,000.
So times 400, so many people will be out of joblessness.
Yes, but that one in Lagos is Isolo there. In Aswaniri area.
Just one,
Yeah.
There are many of them.
What's the capacity utilization? What's the capacity utilization?
All right, I hear that Wale is waiting in Abuja to speak with us. Wale, good evening to you. Welcome.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Which is your state, Wale?
I'm from Osun, but I'm speaking to you right now from Abuja.
Okay. Osun will get 18.2 billion, and that's official.
That is the rubbish. That is the rubbish step taken by the federal government. The APC government, they are just strangulating the people of this country.
Now, you've left, you are talking about APC. We are talking about a loan, a bailout to states.
APC, PDP, ABGA.
What I'm saying, the moderator or the moderators of this program, it's APC. Are we not using the APC government?
No. You don't have to go that way.
I see.
All right. Wale, I cannot, I'm fighting to make sense of what you said, No.
I think he was trying to build a funny context around APC. But you have governors from APC, from PDP, from ABGA, and all of them requested for this refinancing for loans that some of them didn't collect.
And so it is not APC or PDP.
No, it's not. It's beyond the political parties.
That is the more thing I support you as assertion that the kind of government, we deserve the kind of
Oh,
government.
you deserve it.
Yes, because
you deserve it.
Let's talk. Okay, let's say it here. How many unions and workers of those states are shouting? How many pensioners are shouting that, look, the governors are not paying us? What is that?
Bola, before pensioners in my Akwa Ibom begin to raise their voices, let's go on a commercial break.
Okay.
We'll be back. Please stay with us, please. Okay then, welcome back. Let's go to our next story. Bola, you were nudging me.
Yes, you see, like, look at what happened in Ogun State, for instance.
Okay.
Okay? Old men who use their youths to work.
You mean retirees?
Retirees.
Did what?
Yes, they use their youths. Youthful exuberance, everything.
No. Retirees did what in your state?
Yeah. They went to the government house. The gates were locked. These men and women, they opened the gates.
By force?
By
fire?
By fire. But the issue is this: have they gotten the money? That is the question.
Why should they be owed? As if the head of government no go be old man too.
Well, I don't know about
some of them are already old.
No. The government, the governor will be an old man.
Some of the governors are old men too. Ganduje is in his 70s.
Okay. Don't tell me the age of my governor. Let's go to our next story. You know, the interminable strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, or ASUU, appears to be over following the intervention of the Speaker of the House of Reps, Gbajabiamila. An all-important truce became possible between the two feuding parties. They agreed on 22.17 billion naira earned allowances and a further 30 billion naira revitalization fund. ASUU President Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke, did I get that right?
Yes, you tried.
Oshodeke, Minister of Finance and National Planning Zainab Ahmed, plus the Minister of State for Education Emeka Nwajuba, were at the meeting chaired by Speaker Gbajabiamila. We can all admit the war is over. So what next, Emeka?
No, the war is not over.
Well, ASUU has not said anything about whether it's
over.
It's going ahead with the strike or not. And then government has said within a week. ASUU didn't say anything. That's why you heard, if you look at the statement issued by...
But we have a background to it, so we'll share that with you. Let's watch on.
11 months after it put a nationwide strike on hold, ASUU on Monday gave 3 weeks to the government to implement agreement reached. To avert another round of industrial action is the reason for this meeting at the instance of the Speaker. Gbajabiamila appeals to the teachers not to down tools again.
I do not believe that we can afford another strike.
ASUU and the federal government gave their sides of the story. The union traces the history of the crisis to the 2009 agreement it says is yet to be implemented. It speaks to 8 issues in contention, to include funding for revitalization and academic allowance, problematic IPPIS, and the proliferation of state universities without requisite funding. The teachers demand government's commitment to the payment of 22.12 billion naira and academic allowance.
If a lecturer has not been paid for 13 months, I would say that particular IPs is sound, it is error-free, and you cannot pay salary. Some will pay 4 months, they will stop, they will pay 2 months and stop, and what have you?
Finance Minister and the Minister of State for Education say 30 billion naira has been released for the revitalization of the universities.
I can confirm that revitalization sum, the way we agreed, has actually been released.
I'm concerned that the chairman said that there are some staff that have up to 17 months of salaries not paid. I haven't got I haven't got any such report.
The Speaker takes on the issues in dispute one after the other.
No more statements threatening. No, we have reached somewhere now. Let's call it truce. Let's call it truce. We've reached somewhere now. Going out there and making statements and saying this only exacerbates the matter. We've come to a gentleman's agreement. By next week, all those things will be resolved.
The meeting has been able to resolve some of the issues bothering the union, as ASUU hopes the government will keep to each side of the bargain in the interest of industrial harmony. Joke Adsa, TVC News, Abuja.
All right then, so that's the background. So Emeka, you are still not sure if a truce is there, if a white flag has been raised.
Yeah, of course. If you read the statement very well, issued by the Speaker's aide, Lanre Lasisi, he said that Gbajabiamila called on ASUU to sheath a sword because there was no commitment by ASUU that they would not proceed on strike. So maybe ASUU wants to wait to actually see that the government, that the money is paid. Because there's a background, successive negotiations.
Yeah.
Just imagine, this is 2021.
And
they're going to renegotiate an agreement reached in 2009. That was 12 years ago. I mean, when other countries of the world, developed countries of the world are looking beyond 2050. They're looking beyond 2070, 2100, and, at 2100, and they are looking into the future. In Nigeria, we're still battling with paying lecturers what is their due.
You are going to make the statement I made earlier on, an academic one. We deserve what we are getting.
Yeah, well, that's debatable.
Ask me, was ASUU right to have gone on strike for that long? Bola, was ASUU right?
Well,
was government wrong
the money
not to have acceded?
You mean in 2009?
Yeah.
Where they were away for 9 months?
Was ASUU right to have gone on strike?
But they were demanding for their rights. But you now reached an agreement with them. Why wasn't the agreement implemented? 2013, when Jonathan started another round of negotiations, you promised you were going to release billions, only for you to release the money in millions. Hundreds, or just once. You released 200 million, and then later another, and that was the end.
And then asked, how did you spend it? If you remember. That one caused Bege, as they say.
Again. And if not only that, we are talking of ASUU. What of NASU?
And
Asanu. What of Asanu? See, the
Polytechnic,
issue...
What about Polytechnic?
Yes, ASUU.
Those in Polytechnics, those in colleges of education.
What of college of... college of education.
There's one, the health one,
Johesu. See, the issue is this. This is a government whereby everybody wants to be important. Everybody wants to justify the fact that, this is my own camp. I want to protect my seats. Okay, fine. The Speaker, he did well by inviting the parties to the conflict. Is it the one to issue the check?
No.
No. Is the money available? Is President Buhari going to sign the money?
The Minister of Finance was there.
The Minister of State for Finance. We've seen
Minister of State for Education was there.
Yes, and even Labour. They were all there. But the issue is this: we know how this thing works here. You understand me? Look, at the end of the day, they will go back to government. Then they will start dilly-dally. Then the something will fester. ASUU will say, next time Gbajabiamila will call ASUU again, and then they will not go.
Are you smelling a rat somewhere?
Yes, I'm smelling. Not only that.
What's this rat?
Then so just don't let me let the cat out of the bag yet. Let me see. The issue is, look, we have less than 2 months towards the end of the year.
You think this is a gambit?
Yes, it's a gambit. It's a gambit. And ASUU knew.
Emeka, I'm not saying that too.
Well, that's why ASUU refused to make a commitment about whether it's going to go ahead with the strike or not. Because
they want to wait for the money to be released. Let us see the money.
To who?
Yes, to
release
ASUU.
To release to universities.
Yes. To universities. They want the money to, because they've had so many meetings that nothing came out of it.
Why did they even need to be dragged to the National Assembly? If the ministers were available, why did they need to be dragged to the National Assembly? I mean, was it like they just landed from the moon?
I'm sure you have heard such crazy things like two fighting.
Why do two have to fight if there's nothing in contention? What are they fighting over? That's the question you need to ask. What are they fighting over?
Sometimes you wonder if these
because
things,
it's even more than
you wonder
two.
if these things are deliberate.
That's what we're talking about on this table. That some people are up to a game concerning this ASUU thing. And by the time this ASUU stuff, let's say government redeems itself and makes this money available, you will see the other unions will rally around and start their own. Railway workers are on strike, don't forget.
Yeah, let's go there immediately. The railway workers spoiled for a fight. I think the warning is for 3 months.
Yes.
They went to railway headquarters, Ebutemeta, and promised to down tools. Passengers are stranded.
Yes.
It's still part of the Nigerian condition we are talking about. We asked for it.
Yes, we really asked for it. Because, like, if we didn't ask for it, Senator Jones, look at it. If there anything that you can really see that you can link up these governments with in terms of infrastructure, is modernization of railway and construction of, you know, what do they call it? Is it standard gauge? That is what you can link up this government with.
But let me take Raji from Ikorodu. Raji, I greet you.
Yeah, citizen. Good evening.
Yeah.
Are
you a railway worker?
No.
You are?
No.
Okay, go on.
Honestly, it's very unfortunate that the federal government, the state government, none of them is serious. They are not serious in the sense that, look, why don't we have to continue to talk about strike? Strike should be the last resource, should be the last weapon to be used by staff. In fact, for an hour lost, for any government that is serious, do you know what it translates to in terms of naira? You see, people they are more comfortable over there. They are not looking at this. Someone that is living in Lagos, they are working in Ibadan. For just 1 hour that he has to miss that job. For an employer that is serious, you know what that amounts to in naira. So we're just not serious about how we govern the people in this country. And secondly, coming to the issue of this 18.2 billion naira, our governors have now decided to sit back. Nobody is thinking of how to increase the IGR. That's why they depend on federal government. This money is uncalled. The government should not giving this money to them. Instead, look at how you are going to make things easier for people to get work. So many people are outside there. That money, where is the money going to? Most of this money is going to...
All right, Raji. Well, we share your rude awakening. Everybody here, nobody here is happy about what's happening with us because we are undoing ourselves. Seriously, you know, so there's no Satan anywhere. If there is, we are.
Well, it's that our leaders are lending themselves to, you know, sabotaging the people. The efforts they claim they are making, they are the ones actually sabotaging the efforts. I mean, we're still talking about the
railway story that took up was a happy one. Suddenly,
yeah, but we're talking about removing railway from the exclusive list, making railway, I mean, a profitable private enterprise. But the federal government insists on holding into it. And then look at the placards displayed by the workers. That means government has not kept to its promises.
Yeah,
you can see they say bad salary kills. Kills morale.
I hear a train driver is on a 26,000 naira a month salary.
Why?
And the minimum wage is 30?
30,000. So that means government is even in breach of its own agreement with labor.
And the driver, see the placard, the driver is not insured.
No life insurance.
No, there's no insurance for the workers. You know,
nothing.
Good salary gives better result. Bad salary kills morale.
So I mean, you give people trains to drive, carrying so many people, and they are bogged down by low morale. I mean, what's the... why are you endangering people's lives?
Are these things deliberate?
Well, part of the problem is that we are still having the debate over which things should actually be regarded as for being for public good and which things should be regarded as, being for private enterprise. That is still the problem. So, how much profit is government making from railway? Government is still heavily subsidizing railway. Which some people will tell you it's the practice all over the world that you don't really make money from railways. But the point is this: you see how much has been invested now, on revamping Apapa Oshodi Expressway. They made with concrete. But you now ask yourself, why don't we have a direct railway link from Apapa Port to the major commercial cities across the country?
Yeah.
So
to reduce the burden on the roads.
So there are so many things. There's even still the issue of why do we still have that single gauge? Why are we still pushing for a railway? I mean, a gauge that will not serve the interest of the rising population.
Yeah.
When are we going to move a lot of people away from the roads to the railway? And then when is government going to make railway?
You're looking at double gauge rail line.
Many things. Look at what the workers are complaining about. There is so much that you can negotiate with government for good salaries, and government will tell you that they are not really making money from this venture. It's highly subsidized. So why not think about taking it to the private sector so that, at least, not just about moving on the railway tracks, but you have auxiliary services that will provide, that will make railway profitable.
Okay. There's a Mike reaching us from Ikeja. Mike, good evening to you.
Good evening, Uncle Jones. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, and you?
Yeah, I'm good. This is a very fantastic program. Uncle Jones, in as much as I appreciate your interrogating the facts about the railway, the transportation system, the gentleman on your right, I want to believe.
This is my right, Emeka.
Yes, I think Emeka, very fantastic. I want to appreciate him. And when you say, Uncle Jones, that we are doing ourselves, I am forced to ask, who are these we? Is it the citizens like us or those in government? We all travel all over the world and we see how transportation works. The deputy editor of the Nation, who is from Ogun State,
Mike,
will see that Ogun State is what hit in terms of deplorable situation of roads.
All right, Mike, thank you. Time is the master here, but I think we got you first time. Bola, right?
Yes.
Got him first time.
Yes.
I don't see why we can't make the most of the rail system.
Yeah,
because
take it away from
before
the
now,
from
long ago, the train was a veritable means of conveying goods across the country.
And people across the country.
It should not be subjected to politics.
And look at the insecurity, the state of insecurity between Abuja and Kaduna. But with the train, people were able to move.
Yeah.
But it's airlines that are now making the money.
You see?
Airlines are the ones making, airlines are making the money.
All right, we'll take another break and come back. Please, there's another story waiting with us. All right, folks, our last story. Nigeria's Youth and Sports Minister, Sunday Dare, says the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, would decide the fate of Super Eagles head coach Rohr next week. Dare revealed this at the weekly ministerial briefing organized by the Presidential Communications team in Abuja on Thursday. As far as he is concerned, the ministry must wait for a report from the NFF before the decision is made about the German-born soccer strategies. Are we not familiar with the running of sports in this country? Many people seek advice only after their minds are made up. Emmanuel, Akindubu has joined us. Emmanuel, I greet you. Good evening.
Good evening, citizens. Good to be here.
Yeah. Are we not familiar with the way sports is run in our country?
Well, of course, it's a recurring decimal when it comes to sport administration in Nigeria, where the Minister of Sports was supposed to oversee over 37 sports running in the country, but they, ultimately become the Minister of Football, trying to take away the responsibility of the Nigerian Football Federation. Although the current Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dari, has tried as much as possible to distance himself, but his action in the last few weeks have shown that perhaps his ultimate interest is in football. We saw him setting up a committee to look at the developmental plan for football in the next 10 years. I really do not understand why the ministry is involved in that without direct partnership with the NFF. Now we're talking about the fate of the national team manager. Rohr, first and foremost, is an employee of the Nigerian Football Federation. His contracts are tied to the Nigerian Football Federation. The Nigerian Football Federation sets their KPIs and whatever performance index for the manager. The sports ministry may be the supervising ministry of the Nigerian Football Federation, but the Nigerian Football Federation, to an extent, is independent of its own operations, although they are accountable to some extent to the sports ministry. So I think at this point in time, it's too early for the sports minister to actually comment or get involved in this. Even going as far as setting a deadline.
Are you surprised?
I'm quite surprised because I feel that the Honorable Minister knows better. I believe that...
Or should know better.
Should know better. And I believe that perhaps this response was, it was as a press briefing, maybe just had to say something at that point in time.
Emmanuel, Bola, we'll get back to you.
I know.
Don't worry, but don't worry. At the last Olympics in Tokyo, there was an athlete who kept washing a particular jersey and raised so many questions. At the end of the day, the minister, this same minister, promised to probe whatever happened with kitting the athletes and so on. We dared him to go on with the probe. So you think that's forgotten?
Well,
you know what I'm talking about.
I think, we cannot fault the passion of the Honorable Minister to ensure that sports gets a facelift.
You are
in
not
Nigeria.
defending him.
I would state it here, the fact. If he's doing the right thing, we appraise him. If he's not getting it right, we'll draw his attention to it. In the last few weeks, we've had some progress in sports development theoretically, especially with the approval of the Federal Executive Council, making sports a business venture in Nigeria. That over the course of 4 years, 80 billion naira will be invested in sports development in the country. Sports Ministry also coming up with a development plan for 10 years on the short, medium, and long term. Yes, that's some positive, but we still need to get to the place where federations would run their sports with little or no interference from the ministry. We are still battling with basketball now. Nigeria is on the verge of being banned by FIBA, the world governing body for basketball, over the interference and leadership crisis. In football, it took, Gianni Infantino's threat in the last dispensation by, the former minister's name, where he was trying to impose a leader on the NFF before NFF could actually stand on their feet and assert their autonomy in that one. So I think the sport ministry should set the framework, set an enabling environment for these federations to do their job. If the federations are doing their job, the Athletics Federation is doing their job, nobody's going to blame the Honorable Minister for an athlete washing their clothes, because at the end of the day, it's the Athletics Federation that should be responsible for the kitting of their athlete at the major festival like that.
Emmanuel, let me go to Bola, so you won't be a lame duck here. Let me take you back to 1996 at Atlanta, the Olympics at Atlanta, Abbey, when we won the soccer gold. The great Pelé took photographs with the boys and said to the Minister of Sports then, you remember him?
Definitely.
The late Emeka Omeruwa. And said, this is your team for 1998 World Cup. And offered his captain of the 1970 Brazil World Cup team.
Yes.
Go and coach.
As coach.
The man came to Nigeria. He was kept at Sheraton Hotel. The man stayed there 2-3 nights and took his bag and left.
Yes, that was the issue of 10%. So people were negotiating with him. They said,
really?
Okay, fine. Out of the money we are going to pay you, are you ready to pay to us 10% of your salary? And the man said, what? Why should I? give out 10% of my salary? Is that what will improve the state of Nigerian football? At the end of this, oh, I can't be part of this. And the man carried his bag.
And left the country.
He left the country.
And since then, our football has been on the nosedive.
Now, the issue is this, Citizen Jones. Fine, this is a football playing country. Nigerians and the world know us for it. But in as much as that, as he rightly said, we have about 37 federations. Why is it that we face football?
In 1994, at Atlanta, we were the number 5 country, footballing country on the planet. But they sacked the coach, Westerhoff, and brought in a Nigerian. He later died, unfortunately. And we owed him till he died.
And there's no record now that he's been paid.
We owed Keshi. Now it is Rohr.
And let's come to the issues that lead to this speculation about the future of Gernot Rohr. First and foremost, Nigeria's performance in the last 2 years, especially after the African Cup of Nations in 2019, has kind of nosedived. The fact that we have avalanche of emerging talents across the world is not translated to the performance in the team. The World Cup qualifiers, second round of matches, we were in a group with Liberia, who are not playing at home because none of their stadiums is fit for international matches. A Central African Republic who played their matches, all their own matches in Yaoundé, in Cameroon. And we played against Cape Verde. And in this kind of group, Nigeria struggled with only 3 wins away from home. We could not even win our matches at home. We only won against Liberia by some stroke of luck. Then we lost to Central African Republic at home, here in Lagos.
But do you know,
and Cape Verde.
Do you know bad luck is also luck? Only say it bad.
But the truth of the matter is that it gets to a point where the fans have called for the coach continuous stay on the job to be reviewed, and that's where this is coming. And that's where I said I understand the position of the minister if he is speaking on behalf of Nigerians, but he should also understand that as an administrator, he cannot make a categorical statement on a situation that is still evolving. He still needs to let the NFF meet at the board level. Because if we do not respect this structure, it will still come back to haunt us.
Emmanuel, do you know the debate will continue? The propriety or otherwise of having a homegrown coach a national team, or hire a foreign coach. And if we do hire one, allow him do the job.
Of course, Gernot Rohr has been allowed. Gernot Rohr is one of the most independent. I mean, Bola will agree with me on this. He's had most of the biggest. He has the best generation of Nigerian players right now. Because of all Nigerian generation of players, we have lots of homegrown talent. He came onto the job just a few years after Nigeria won 2 back-to-back cadet championships. When Nigeria did well at the Under-20 World Cup, when Nigeria did well at the Under-23 Olympic Games. He came on, just months after Nigeria won the So he had lots of young talents to work with. But 5 years down the line, what has Gernot Rohr been able to mold out of these players? Absolutely nothing.
Bola, you know, in my part of the world, they say, when you send Peking message, no follow and go. That's what we do here.
Yes, we must do that in this case. Because, look at it. You see, we have, as he rightly said, we have the best set of players who can take us to any level of competition.
We have the talent here.
The talent we have. But let me borrow the word of Galin Haba. He said, you see, Nigerian situation and policies sometimes, like any other field, any other profession, it's just like having a plate of salad, whereby when you mix the salad together, they will still retain the identity. And the players, they are good. Then, what level can Rohr take us to? This is
I think we got into the peak with him already.
We got into the peak, but we still need to go up.
You're passing moral judgment already.
I think Rohr can't take us beyond this level.
Yeah,
I mean, we need a new blood.
Emmanuel, I said at the beginning, sometimes a man would have made up his mind and then he seeks advice.
Definitely.
So we have made up our mind. All right, we must go. But not before thanking Emeka Madunagu, who left for Emmanuel Akindubuwa.
Absolutely.
Which is your state?
I'm from Ondo State.
Oh, all right. No wonder. You are not surprised. All right. Bola Olajuwon, I want to thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very kindly. Well, and the viewer, thank you for making it another outing for us. Useful outing. We'll be here on Monday, but then join us on Sunday from 1:30 for a 2-hour edition of this show. And we're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Citizen Jones. Bye-bye now.